an ICE agent just shot a lady in Minnesota. That's unfortunate for sure. But this should be a lesson to those of you who carry a gun every day. And that's not just for police officers, okay, mind you. That's for anybody who carries a gun for self-defense. If you carry a gun for self-defense, you ultimately intend on using that gun to defend yourself, which could be deadly physical force upon another person. And this is why you need defense for self-defense. Here's the reality. Even if the action is completely justified, as we've seen on video, you never know who's going to have a different opinion on whether it's justified or not. Renée Good, who is 37, was shot and killed because Renée Good decided to press the gas pedal and an ICE agent happened to be there. Now, here's the thing. We don't know exactly what was in Renée Good's mind at the time. There's no way we can know that. But the fact is, she did speed toward a law enforcement officer to avoid an arrest, a detention, whatever you want to call it. And because of that, the law enforcement officer took action to defend himself. And possibly, he could have been defending other people in his mind. Now, I watched a video of AOR breaking down the story, and that video is below, and I invite you to go watch it too. This law enforcement officer could answer for not only one round, he could answer for all the rounds that he fired. Each round could come with its own separate charge, which is why you should train too, right? You have to train that way. When the threat ceases to be a threat, you stop shooting. I say this in my CCW classes all the time. If the threat ceases to be a threat, you stop shooting. Everyone's going to have an opinion on how many rounds you can shoot or can't shoot or should shoot, or where even on the body you should be able to shoot. I had a lady ask me, well, why can't I just shoot him in the leg, in the knee, or whatever? And I asked that lady, I was like, have you ever tried to shoot a 3-inch moving target with your pistol? It's extremely hard. I had somebody ask me, well, why do I have to even shoot at them at all? Can I do a warning shot? Sure, you could. But there's other laws that you might get hemmed up on. If that stray bullet hits somebody else, you're responsible for that thing. So it's not advisable. That's why we need to avoid, deter, and then take action if we have to. Unfortunately, law enforcement officers do not have the luxury to avoid. So their next option is to deter the interaction from turning to deadly force. Unfortunately, Miss Good did not allow that officer to execute on the deter option. That is the moral of this whole story. This reminds me a lot of the arguments surrounding the Kyle Rittenhouse case. The arguments were, well, Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have been there in the first place. The same argument can be made for Miss Good. She shouldn't have been there in the first place. She shouldn't have been trying to block ICE from doing what they were ordered to do, by the way. I'm not saying what they're doing is right. I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong. But if you're here illegally, you are breaking the law. And they are law enforcement. That's what they're there for. They're there to enforce the law. The only way you can do that is by confronting the suspects face to face, detaining them, and then going to court to fight either for or against them, depending on what lawyer you are. And then the judge gets to make that decision, not the protester, and honestly, not even the law enforcement officer. And sometimes the judge don't even make the decision, a jury does. So in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse, the jury decided that he was justified in doing his actions at that point in time. None of his actions mattered prior to, and none of his actions mattered really after the fact. It was at that particular time he decided that he needed to use a firearm in self-defense and take another person's life. This is extremely important, especially in this case. Now, this ICE officer is possibly an upstanding community member. I don't know. He possibly has been vetted 10,000 times over, once through the military. Maybe he has a top secret clearance or a secret clearance or something like that. He's already been vetted through the federal hiring system program with ICE, of course. But all that doesn't matter. It matters the exact time that he pulled the trigger. And the exact time he pulled the trigger again, or how many ever he did, I'm not sure. Look, if you don't have self-defense for your self-defense, meaning you don't have any kind of legal coverage, I think you're messing up. And you should look into all the other options. I'm not saying whatever. I'm going to promote attorneys on retainer because I believe in their product. I believe that they say what they're going to do and they're doing what they're going to say. I believe in what they're doing. Put yourself in this officer's shoes as a civilian and you pull your firearm and you shoot this person. Somebody sees it on a video. They think that you committed murder, as you can hear on the videos. The prosecution looks at the video and decides, yep, this is murder. And they decide to charge you. What are you going to do? Do you have $50,000 laying around that you can just throw towards a lawyer? Which, by the way, in a case probably like this, $50,000 is just the tip of the iceberg. It could be upwards of $100,000, $150,000 just to defend yourself in a court of law for something that you thought you were justified in doing. See my link below and or in my profile. I'm telling you, today's day and age, it is not wise to go around without defense for self-defense. My heart goes out to the family of Miss Good. I personally think that she was there to do what she thought she needed to do. Unfortunately, she drew the line. And when she drew that line, the officer was then forced to make an action. And if she was alive today, she would be probably prosecuted for assaulting an officer. Either way, it was a bad situation. So to recap, I need you guys to avoid, deter, and then possibly an action if you have to in the case of an imminent threat. If it's an imminent threat and they don't give you the option to avoid or deter, you go straight to action, whatever that action may be. Because of that, you do need some kind of defense for self-defense. I choose attorney on retainer. I encourage you to do the same, and then you'll get $25 off, honestly, if you use my link. And I'll get a small commission, and you'll be covered. All right, guys, if you like the video, like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things in the YouTube universe, or Instagram or social media, so on and so forth. You get the picture. We really want to put out good content for you guys. I really put a lot of effort into this, so I'd appreciate it. Additionally, I do have some affiliate links below, and check those guys out, specifically Mantis Training Systems and Attorneys on Retainer. Check out.